The movie begins with a deaf woman named Elisa, waking up because the alarm goes off. She does a cleaning job at a top-secret classified facility operated by the USA. Right below her house, there is a theater where not many people come to watch movies. Elisa takes off her bathrobe and goes to take a shower in the bathtub. In this orphanage, she lives with Giles, who treats her like a daughter. Using sign language, she asks him to eat the meal on time, and then she leaves for her job. Moments later, she arrives at OCAM Aerospace Research Center, where she works as a cleaner. Elisa meets her best friend and co-worker named Zelda Fuller, who is very kind to her in every way. Elisa and Zelda enter a chamber to carry out the cleaning while chattering. Mr. Fleming, head of security, announces and informs other working scientists that they are about to receive a new team which will do a study on a precious asset that is housed in this facility. Not long after, a group of attendants enters the chamber, carrying a large water-filled box under the supervision of Richard Strickland, a high-ranking officer in the U.S. forces. Mr. Fleming welcomes him to the facility. Elisa hears howling coming from inside the box and grows curious about what might be within. Suddenly, the creature trapped inside tries to break free, but the attendants quickly carry the container away. Intrigued, Elisa and the other cleaners are sent out of the chamber to keep the creature's existence classified. The next day at work, Elisa and Zelda are seen busy cleaning the toilets. Meanwhile, the arrogant Richard arrives, interrupting the cleaning. He shamelessly pees in the presence of the ladies. Shortly, he leaves, taking his electric shock device. While working in the corridor, Elisa and Zelda hear growls and gunfire coming from inside the chamber. Soon Strickland rushes out of the lab with his hand brutally wounded. Later, Mr. Fleming brings Elisa and Zelda in and instructs them to clean the lab where the floor is covered in blood. He orders them to finish the task within 20 minutes and leaves. As Elisa begins to mop, she spills water on the floor, and to her shock, Richard's amputated fingers roll out from beneath a rack. Seconds later, she notices a humanoid amphibious creature inside a large water-filled pod. Sensing that someone is approaching, she quickly steps away from the tank as Mr. Fleming returns. Later at home, Elisa tells Giles about the strange creature at the facility, but he completely brushes off her story and leaves. The next day, Elisa secretly returns to the lab area. Approaching the pool, she sees movement in the water and realizes that the creature is chained at the bottom. She gently taps a boiled egg with a tool to lure it. Soon, the creature rises from the water, spots the egg in Elisa's hand, and swims toward the edge of the pool, standing tall despite its restraints. Elisa doesn't fear the creature and gives him an egg to eat. The creature quickly grabs the egg and dives back into the water. Richard calls Elisa and Zelda into his office and interrogates them about their identity. Zelda tells Richard that her complete name is Zelda Delilah, and she has been working at the facility for 10 years. After this, Richard sees Elisa's file and learns that her complete name is Elisa Esposito. On behalf of Elisa, Zelda tells Richard that Elisa was found near a river in the water, and she can't talk because she is deaf. All she can do is hear. Richard notices scars on Elisa's neck and asks her about it. Elisa, using sign language, replies that she was born with them. Afterward, he instructs them to get out of the lab as soon as they are done with cleaning, because the thing they have kept there is highly dangerous. The creature looks like a human, but actually he isn't. After this, he orders them to leave. The amphibious creature is in the pool and playing with the eggshells. Richard comes home, meeting his family. His wife takes him upstairs and starts getting intimate with him, as it had been quite a long time since they had done anything special together. Elsewhere in the facility, Elisa gets into the lab under the pretense of cleaning it. She places another egg on the edge of the pool and plays a record player to amuse the creature. Soon the offish creature quietly takes the egg away, but shortly afterward it emerges from the water after hearing music, seemingly enjoying it. Elisa is also seen enjoying the company of the strange creature. She repeats the same process every day, gradually trying to get near the amphibious humanoid creature. However, one day, she is caught communicating with the creature by Dr. Robert Hofstetler. Instead of making a fuss, Dr. Robert stays silent and returns to his house. At a rendezvous, he meets a Russian colleague, revealing that he is a Russian spy, and he is on a mission. Robert and his colleague Mihakov arrive at a restaurant and meet their other colleague. Robert's comrades call him Dmitri, disclosing that Robert's real name is Dmitri, not Robert, so we will also call him Dmitri for a clear understanding. Dmitri informs them that the creature is being studied in the laboratory and it is highly intelligent and is able to communicate with the humans. Inside the facility, Elisa sneaks into the lab and finds the creature brutally assaulted. In her rush, an egg slips out of the paper bag and falls to the floor. Hearing Richard's voice, she quickly hides. The ruthless Richard then tortures the creature with an electric shock device, taking revenge for the loss of his fingers. Richard notices the egg on the floor and grows suspicious. Moments later, General Hoyt enters the lab to check on the captured creature's status. Richard tells him that the natives in the Amazon worshipped it as a god, offering gifts into the water to appease it. However, Richard suggests vivisecting the creature to better understand its biology, which Dmitri strongly opposes. General Hoyt sides with Richard, asserting that he has the authority to do whatever he wants because he carries 5 stars on his shoulders, while Elisa secretly eavesdrops from her hiding place. Dmitri tries his best to convince the general and Richard not to kill the creature, but neither of them listens to him. Elisa witnesses all this without being noticed downstairs. Later, she returns home and tells Giles that the general and Richard are planning to kill the creature. She insists that they must rescue the poor being before General Hoyt has the chance to destroy it. When Giles hesitates, Elisa uses hand gestures to tell him that she and the creature are alike. She cannot speak, just like him, and moves her mouth as he does. The way the creature looks at her, he doesn't see what she lacks or how she is incomplete. He sees her simply as she is. And more importantly, he becomes happy as he sees her every time. Elisa forces Giles to understand her, but Giles pushes her back and leaves, saying he can't help her in this dangerous matter. However, he later becomes ready to help her, telling her that she is the only person that he can talk to, bringing a smile to Elisa's face. Dmitri meets Bernard and informs him that the Americans are going to kill the creature tomorrow. Bernard hands him an Israeli popper, advising him to set it near the fuse box. It will buy him 5 to 10 minutes in the dark. Afterward, he has to give injections to the creature to kill it, but Dmitri doesn't like this plan. Giles explains his plan to Elisa, stating that he will reach the facility at 5 a.m. and Elisa will move the cameras in the meantime. He forges a fake ID in the name of a Michael Parker with age 57. Richard stares at the camera feed and sees Elisa when she is at work in the cleaning area. He then spills the water on purpose, instructing Sally, his secretary, to call Elisa to clean up the spill. Elisa comes in and does her duty while Richard tries to strike up a conversation with her. He tries to take an undue advantage of her down and out situation, but Elisa quickly realizes it and gets out of Richard's office in panic. As per the plan, Elisa moves the surveillance camera while standing on a tin box. Dmitri rushes into Richard's office and urges him to delay the vivisection of the creature, telling him he doesn't want an intricate, beautiful thing to be destroyed this way. This creature is intelligent enough to understand language and emotions. Richard says tauntingly, the Soviets are also equally intelligent, but still we, the Americans, hunt them. Meanwhile, Dmitri spots something going on with the camera outside, so he dismisses his infructuous effort to convince Richard and comes out only to find that someone moved the camera by standing on the loading dock. Next, Elisa carries a laundry trolley and sneaks into the lab while Dmitri hides in the shadows in the same lab. Upon realizing, Elisa is the one who moved the camera on the loading dock and she is trying to save the creature, Dmitri hands her the key to free the creature from the chains. Elisa puts the creature into the laundry trolley and hides it under the stack of dirty clothes. Giles arrives at the loading dock in a laundry van, but the security guard stops his van to check his identity. Meanwhile, Dmitri sets the Israeli popper next to the fuse and rushes away. Elisa encounters Zelda on her way to the exit with a trolley. Zelda initially advises Elisa not to go against the authorities by setting the creature free. In his office, Richard notices a laundry van at the loading dock on the camera feed. Mr. Fleming informs him that the van wasn't scheduled, prompting Richard to grow suspicious instantly. He immediately calls the guard, but the guard is busy finding the authenticity of the ID. The vigilant guard scratches the ID and finds it a forged ID. So by pointing his gun at Giles, he orders him to get out of his van in no time. Meanwhile, the Israeli popper blows up, destroying the fuse. This causes the lights to go out in the entire facility. Dr. Dimitri comes to Elisa and Zelda, asking them to hurry. He then moves to the loading dock and injects the guard in the neck with the same substance that he was supposed to inject into the creature, thereby saving Giles. Afterward, Dimitri, Elisa, Zelda, and Giles collectively put the creature into the van and drive away while Richard and other guards try to stop them by continuously firing at the van. Somehow, Giles manages to escape with the amphibious creature, leaving Richard feeling hopeless. Furious, Richard storms into the lab only to discover that the creature is no longer there. Meanwhile, Elisa and Giles take the creature to their apartment and gently place him in the bathtub so he can breathe. Elisa adds table salt to the water to make it easier for him to breathe properly. Later, Elisa arrives at the dock, planning to release the creature into the canal when it begins to overflow with water. She returns to the orphanage and selects December 10th to release the rescued creature into the canal, waiting for the arrival of the rain. Afterward, she shows a placard to the creature, stating that she is glad to have him as a friend. Next, Elisa and Zelda return to the facility, pretending not to know anything about what recently has transpired at the facility, while Giles is at home with the creature, making a sketch of him. He asks the creature if he has always been all alone. Could he never find a partner for himself? The creature can't put his feelings into words and keeps listening to Giles instead. At the facility, Richard calls Zelda and Elisa into his office for the interrogation as they were the last ones to punch out before the accident. He asks them to tell him if they know anything. Zelda replies that she didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
Nothing out of the ordinary, no.
Then, Richard moves to Elisa to question her, but she also gives him the same answer. Before leaving, Elisa uses an offensive word for him, but fortunately, he couldn't decode it and asks Zelda to translate it. Zelda misinterpreted the sign, saying that Elisa was thanking him. So Richard lets them leave. While making a sketch, Giles falls asleep, and seizing the moment, the creature gets out of the tub exploring the house. He is intrigued by a horse on the TV. Soon he hears the mew of a cat across the table. In the meantime, Giles wakes up after hearing the cry of his cat. He goes to check on his cat, but it was too late for him as the creature had already killed the cat by then. The creature escapes the house after injuring Giles in the arm. Elisa returns home only to find her foster father sitting with his arm bleeding. Giles tells her that the creature ate their cat and fled the house. She then goes out to find him. Following the traces, Elisa locates the creature watching a movie in the theater. She puts her hand on his body, as if she was asking him to get back home. After returning home, the creature puts his hand on Giles's head and makes him put his hand on his head. He then treats Giles's wound with his godlike powers. As Elisa gently touches the creature, his body begins lightening from inside. The creature also tries to get intimate with her, but Elisa doesn't feel comfortable and gets out of the room in a hurry. Later at night, before going to hit the sack, Elisa feels a sensation inside her body to do something thunderous. So she goes into the bathroom, takes off her gown, and makes love to the creature. The following day at work, Elisa reveals it to her mother-like best friend Zelda, leaving her speechless.
Even when he looks flat down there.
Richard Strickland is in his car while it is raining cats and dogs outside. He sniffs his fingers, which reek of decay. Elisa fills the bathroom with water, creating a makeshift pool for both of them. Giles wakes up and looks into the mirror. To his shock, he sees that new hair has grown on his previously bald head. He realizes it happened because the creature had placed its hand on his head the night before. In the bathroom, Elisa is still enjoying herself in the company of the creature who made her realize how love feels like. Giles comes into the room only to find the water leaking from the bathroom. He promptly opens the door and finds Elisa and the creature embracing each other. Later, he happily shows Elisa his hair and his healed arm, pleading with her to keep the creature with them. It is pouring outside and the creature sees it. Just then, Elisa arrives and touches the creature and realizes that the creature's condition is worsening and he can no longer survive in this environment. The rainy season has set in and the date of 10th of December is also around the corner, meaning the time to release the creature into the lake has come. She gives him eggs in the meal and tries to put her feelings into words. She goes into her fantasy world where she expresses her love to the creature, but in the real world, she couldn't dare to tell the creature how much she loves him. Next, the creature is seen lying helplessly in the bathtub as he is unable to survive any more in human environment. In the heavy downpour, Richard is seen sitting inside his car outside Dimitri's house and stalks him from a distance. Dimitri gets in his car and leaves to meet his Russian comrades, unaware that Richard is following him. Moments later, Dimitri's colleagues come out of their car and shoot Dimitri for not killing the creature in time. Before they could blow Dimitri's head off, Richard arrives and kills both the Russian spies. He then approaches Dimitri, asking him why he was speaking with those people in Russian. He drags him to a mound of sand and asks him his real name. Actually, Richard has come to know that Robert Hofstadter isn't an American but a Russian spy. He tortures Dimitri to reveal who helped the creature break out of the facility. After being tortured to the maximum level, Dimitri gives him a hint, saying that they just do the cleaning in the lab. Richard bangs on the door of Zelda's house. Zelda answers the door and Richard bursts in. Richard enters and menacingly demands to know the creature's location from Zelda. When Zelda's husband, Brewster, attempts to intervene, Richard rudely shouts him down. Zelda maintains that if she had known anything, she would have told him long ago. To save his wife from Richard's wrath, Brewster finally reveals the truth, explaining that the mute girl Elisa had taken the creature away. After discovering the truth, Richard leaves for Elisa's house. Meanwhile, Zelda manages to call and warn Elisa that Richard is coming for her. Richard arrives at the orphanage where Elisa lives. He kicks open the door but finds the room empty as Elisa, the creature, and her friend Giles have already left for the dock. Richard spots a calendar on which Elisa had written rain and dock. Elisa and Giles help the creature reach the overflowing canal. They meet him one last time. Giles lightheartedly takes the creature's hand and places it on his head, jokingly wishing for more hair. Afterward, he and Elisa step back. For the first time, the creature expresses feelings for Elisa and motions for her to go with him. But Elisa sadly gestures that it cannot happen. Disheartened, the creature turns to dive into the water. At that moment, Richard appears, knocks Giles down, and shoots the creature repeatedly before it can escape. He then shoots Elisa. Before dying, Elisa reaches out and puts her hand in the creature's as a final goodbye, while the creature is already lying dead beside her. Giles gets up and strikes Richard with a stick, knocking him down. He then rushes to check on Elisa, who is dead. Miraculously, the creature heals himself, gets back to his feet, and the light visibly glows inside his body. He approaches Richard and kills him by slitting his throat in a single strike. Afterward, he picks up Elisa's body and jumps into the canal with her, leaving Giles behind. As soon as they are underwater, the creature becomes much more powerful. He spots the pre-existing gill-like scars on Elisa's neck. He then kisses her, bringing her back from the dead. Soon, Elisa's scars fully develop into functional gills, allowing her to breathe underwater. In the end, she holds him tightly in her arms, finally receiving the love she had already dreamed of.